and the intro.
Roll that beautiful bean footage, Bish.
Beautiful Bish footage.
I got nothing for this intro, man.
What about a little this, Randy?
Oh, gonna piss off the religious right with that shit.
Only the religious right. What about the religious left?
They're into it.
Satanists.
I guess that's accurate.
I'm not sure how accurate that is, but
No, I don't know. I feel like in this movie, of course, they're probably not.
Yeah, definitely not actually.
What up, nerds? Welcome to another satanic episode of Straight Chilling. My name is Bob, and I'll be your host for the evening. This is episode number 211, recorded on Thursday, April 18th, 2019. Tonight, we're going to be talking about Lords of Chaos. Before we get into the review, let me introduce everyone else on the show. First up, calling in from Santa Barbara, California, Randy Gandy G-Landy.
Hey-oh! That was a new intro I'm trying. It's called the Ed McMahon, and I'm bringing it back.
Does he sound like that?
He does the hey-oh was his thing. I don't know. I don't have time for you youngins explaining Johnny Carson to you and shit.
Deal. Sold. Next up, calling in from Southern Korea, Soju.
What up? It's your boy, Satan Stains.
Oh, fuck.
I can get behind that.
What up? We
Satan stains are really tough to get out. I just want to point that out.
That's
harder than grass
metal.
stains. I'll tell you, those Satan stains, they'll stay forever.
Yeah,
you gotta really put in some elbow grease, you know?
Damn.
Mm-hmm. You gotta twerk it out. Last but not least, we have a special guest returning to the show tonight, calling in from Orlando, Florida. Anthony, what's up, dog?
Hey, what's going on, guys? Happy to be back.
Yo,
What is it about you, Anthony, and coming on our episodes to talk about Satanists? It's just those Satanist episodes.
You know me.
Yeah.
I love me some witches and Satan.
Well, we're bringing you on for your expertise, for sure.
I've been practicing my death growls and screaming for you.
Oh.
Sorry, are we starting or no?
Oh, yeah.
That's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Thanks.
To
It
mark
hurts a lot.
Anthony and Randy's triumphant return. First of all, Randy, you missed the best episode of the year, Hellboy, of course. And I just want to point out to everyone that Rob thought Hellboy 2019 was better than Suspiria 2018 with his 2.5 rating. So just go ahead and highlight that.
Hang on. What did I give Suspiria 2018? I don't remember.
1.5 or something.
Let's go.
No, that's not true.
Yeah.
Gotta check the internet.
We have records.
What is it? What are we looking at? I think it was low.
Highest. Yeah,
I know
it was
you were
ridiculously low.
I gave it a 2.
So it is on record. Hellboy.
So your beer
2019
was a
is
little better than last time.
Oh, God. I had a Coke Zero, and it was
Oh, yeah, that's
5.
much better than any beer.
So I think I'm also on record. I don't remember what episode this was, but I rewatched it after it came out on Blu-ray, and I think I gave it like a 2.5 or a 3. I forget what episode that was on.
Oh, yeah, you did addendum it because of the rich pacing that we've given you.
But that doesn't count. The official record stands.
It's not on the spreadsheet, Bob.
About to spread your sheets.
Well,
anyways,
welcome to Thursday night.
Anthony, real quick. I mean, you have been on the show once before, but for those people who may not have listened to the Suspiria 2018 episode, why don't you just remind everybody who your beautiful ass is and why you're here, what you do. Just let everybody know what you do.
All right. Yeah, sure. Apart from Rob waxing my car every so often, as he phrased it.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. Yeah, so I run Something Ghoulish. We create introspective deep dives into genre films. So we do video essays, and on top of that, we have a podcast, Ghoulish Cast, where we sit down with creators across the industry and kind of get some inside knowledge from them.
Yeah,
And
Yes,
that shit's
you
good.
do.
If
It
you
is.
ever
It's
want to
very good.
do an introspective cooter video, please give me a call. I'm happy
Oh.
to give any kind of expertise I can offer.
Next April 1st, baby.
On the
This is
books.
not a joke, Anthony.
By the way, what did you guys think of my April Fool's Day joke? I was so proud of that, more than I should have been.
I loved it.
It was solid, man.
What?
I like it was only what 10 or 20 seconds. It was really short, and I knew it was a joke before I even like clicked on it.
Oh, I did
But
not.
I'll be honest. After watching that like 10 or 20 seconds, I was like, I kind of want to see the rest of this video that has not been made. Like, convince me that the Psycho remake is better than the original.
Oh, dude, I fucking hate that movie so much.
It's not great.
It's
No.
really like a tremendous piece of shit. I think you should do a whole video on it and like, yeah, just take the tack that you actually love it. That'd be great.
Yeah,
It doesn't need to be
Yeah.
April to make fun videos about terrible movies.
that'll get you some followers, some subscribers right there.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Mr. Hot Takes of the horror universe.
Mhm.
Yeah, right.
Mr. Hot Takes himself.
Mr. Hot Takes, Mr. Hot Cakes.
Mhm.
Okay.
You know what?
That's Mr. Hot Crepes. All right,
That's what-
we got some housekeeping.
That's how we segue around these parts.
Bam, nice and smooth. Like, just another reminder: our May poll pick is posted on our Patreon website. If you support us at the $5 level or above, you can vote on the movie we're going to talk about this May. The theme for May is Maniacal Mothers, and the 3 films that you can vote between are Inside, Psycho, and Carrie. And also, we got a couple new Patreon subscribers. We need to shouts outs real
Dude,
quick.
let's shouts outs.
Let's do it. Shouts to the heavens. Big thanks to Julia B for supporting us on the
Julia.
Patreon.
Thanks, Julia.
Patreon.
Thank you, girl.
And also, damn, girl.
You went full Ryan Gosling meme on that shit.
Also, a big shout out to good sir Tim M for supporting us on the
Tim.
Patreon.
Thanks, Tim.
Thanks,
Much
boy.
love. Much.
Go ahead and round it out.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks. Justin, you made a promise a few days ago regarding our YouTube channel. What? I think you got
Some might call it a
stuff
bribe.
to announce. Yeah, more like a
Some
bribe.
might call it a lie. Psych. There's
Some
no
might
truth.
Some might call it not legally binding.
No, we have a little poster giveaway. I promised that I realized that I get all these posters from Korea for these new movies, and we had covered a bunch this month. So I decided to give a few away to anyone who wanted to participate with us on YouTube. So all you had to do is find our behind-the-scenes video, Hellboy, Pet Sematary, and us, and give us a comment, give us a like. And what I did is I found this pretty cool little website, and it is called, I want to give, proper recognition, online stopwatch.com/random name pickers / name picker wheel. So it's like a
The
little,
transparency is intoxicating.
it's like a little wheel, and I typed everybody's name in it to make it completely fair, and it's Ben's little wheel, and it picked, I got 3 names for us. I told I would give away a Hellboy poster, Pet Sematary, and us. So here are the winners, starting with Rob's favorite movie of 2019, Hellboy.
Here we go.
The winner of the poster Hellboy giveaway is Jesse Hawk. You will be getting yourself a nice little Hellboy Korean poster, so congratulations.
Congrats, Jesse.
For the
Hopefully
pet.
you like the movie, Jesse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully we
What?
aren't drastically disappointing you.
I think that's the only one she commented on. Some people commented on like all
Hey.
3 videos, so they got a chance. So yeah. Pet Cemetery winner is Priscilla Rodriguez.
Oh, Priscilla.
Slack channel heavyweights, Priscilla.
Yeah, absolutely.
Slacking.
And
Slacker.
the last winner is, or for us, is Jim. Oh God, I'm gonna butcher this. Ginza, Guenza.
I think it's Gwenza. Just call him G, baby. Big
G
nasty
baby, Jim G.
G.
My boy Jim
baby.
G. So those are the winners of the poster pick or poster giveaway. I will hit you guys up, I guess, on like YouTube. I think some of you are on Slack too, so I'll hit you up for your information and try to get those sent out on Monday. I've never actually sent anything in the Korean mail. I understand it kind of takes a while. I think it might take like 2 or 3 weeks, but eventually you will get these beautiful posters. And if for some reason somebody just doesn't give me their information or get back to me, then I guess I'll pick somebody else. But that is our poster giveaway. Thanks for your claps, Randy.
Nice. And this is something, Justin, you were mentioning before we started recording this show, that you plan to do again.
Yeah, I would like to. So as long as we cover the movie and so it's going to be new movies. So as long as the movie comes out in Korea and we are covering it on a cast, I will grab some of the posters that they have out in the theaters and I will plan to give them away. So I'm never really sure which movies are actually going to come out in Korea. So it's hard to announce beforehand. So
does each poster come with a complimentary soju stain?
If you can have a special request, that's
just
if you would like your own soju stain included, please let me know.
We're getting into something that I don't want to be part of.
Now let's talk about Lords of Chaos.
Do you have any Twitch news, just?
Yeah, still going strong on the Twitch. We're still covering Inside for the month of April. And also still doing the Borderlands as well. I've got another one to upload on that, but we've got a couple streams already uploaded on our YouTube for the horror gaming playthroughs we're going through. If you didn't know, twitch.tv/Straight Chillin' Podcast. Hit us up, subscribe, and you can watch us play through some spooky video games.
If you ain't know, now you know.
Yeah.
Also, just a reminder, we've been doing our weekly Friday evening Joe Bob live watch parties. We're doing one this Friday. Starts at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to post a link to join our live watch party on our Facebook page and our Twitter page just before the show actually starts. So if you want to join us, look in those places to do so. The past few weeks has been a really great time, and the crowd, the group that we've sort of had join each week, man, it's just so much fun watching these movies with Joe Bob already, and then also having the crew enhances it even more. Big Daddy Randy Gandy G-Laney is going to be running the show this week. I won't be able to make it, unfortunately. Breaks my heart, but Uncle G-Landy's got it covered.
I went from daddy to uncle. It's just
that's a bad touch right there.
I'm your whole family now, is what I'm trying to say.
Randy's all you need, is what I'm saying. He's all you need. Also, one more reminder that our April 13th show has been moved to May 18th, Saturday, May 18th. We're doing a live show here in Jacksonville, Florida at the Justice Pub. We're doing a crossover event with the Short Box Podcast. We're going to be talking about Creepshow, both the movie and the comic book. It's a free event. Definitely come out, hang out with us. We're going to have Ryan from GAM, which is like a local I'll say convention, but I know he hates using that term. Anyway, he's going to be setting up a bunch of like video game consoles and stuff for people to play on. The bar itself is actually a pretty cool location. They've got a really nice stage set up. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And like I said, it's free. Saturday, May 18th at 7 o'clock, the Justice Pub in Jacksonville, Florida. Definitely come hang out with us.
Cool. Are you going to be talking about the new Creepshow series, Bob?
I'm sure we'll mention it, but it won't be out by then. I think that's coming out like fall-ish, fall time.
Yeah. Just get ready, build the hype.
Season. Yeah. Got to hype Shutter up. Got to do some free promo, some more free promo. That's it. Let's go ahead and get into what we've been watching this week. Randy, what you been watching?
Let me think. Well, Criterion Channel just dropped, which I went ahead and got because there's a few things on there I wanted to check out. One of the things I checked out was Paths to Glory, the Kubrick film. Has anybody seen that?
No.
Nope.
So it was pretty new to me, but like I had heard, I had seen this bit, and it was on the channel actually, weirdly. But David Simon, the creator of The Wire, had brought it up as one of his major influences for that show. And it's a Kubrick film about. Hold on, getting a lot of interference going on.
Somebody in the kitchen,
end, Rob.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Oh, is that on your end, Bob?
Yeah.
All right,
Just
cool.
barrel
It's
through.
only extremely distracting. Don't worry about it.
It's
So,
only
yeah.
going to go through a Randy segment, of course.
All right. So, yeah, Paths to Glory is a Kubrick film, and it's set in World War I, and it's sort of about just sort of power dynamics within a hierarchy, like the French army is sort of highlighted.
Oh.
And it's really fucking great. It's a great movie. I really actually recommend it quite a bit because it does sort of go through that sort of like who's power hungry, who's willing to lose human lives and serve a career and all. It's really great. What else have I watched? I didn't get to see Joe Bob this week. I did get to see Us again because Becky hadn't got to see it, so I went with her, and I enjoyed the fuck out of it again.
You think you enjoyed it more the second time or just about the same?
I think it's about the same. I think like I really think there needs to be more space between viewings for it to really for me to know for sure because I was still right high off that first viewing. So, but yeah, there's a lot in there. There's just so much to dissect in that movie. I'm happy to do it. Just been shotgunning Game of Thrones, the new Game of Thrones game. That. I don't know. That's about it. Are the dishes done?
Welcome to Straight Chilling,
Almost.
kitchen ASMR.
Yes.
Straight cooking? What?
Great cooking.
I feel like there's something I'm totally forgetting to bring. Oh, what was it I fucking watched? There was some. You know what? I'll have to think of it. If it comes to me, I'll bring it up. But there was something on Shudder that I watched. A little bit of some 70s horror. I'll have to think of it. I don't have it written down because it's professional.
Juice, what you been watching?
I was just thinking, man. I guess me and you did a cast on Sunday,
Yeah.
and really, I think the legit, the only thing I have watched was the new Game of Thrones. Which they're only doing 6 episodes this season, and this one was like even I felt like maybe like a little short, even for like a regular Game of Thrones episode, maybe close to it, but it's like 54 minutes or something. And for being like one of 6, like I don't know, not a whole lot going on, you know. It's a lot of setup, I guess, you know, a lot of setup going on, but
They have a lot of ground to cover
Like
still. For
7
sure.
seasons of setup.
yeah, well,
Well, no, just
Yeah.
like for this season even.
yeah,
It's
I
all
know.
exposition.
Yeah, exactly. It's all like, hey, what have you been doing? Well, I'm
I
doing.
kind of
this.
feel like
What
they
have
could
you
have
been
definitely
doing?"
done another season pretty easily.
Yeah, or at least like a full season. Like, oh, now we're only gonna do 6. It's like, well, if one episode is legit just gonna be everybody talking about what they've been up to for a little bit, then like, come on. But so yeah, I watched that one. Hopefully, the next episode, it's kind of teasing the big battle up in old Winterfell. So hopefully, we get something sweet kicking.
Nice. I haven't watched it yet, but
Oh.
I need to.
Well, everyone dies.
Cool.
All your favorites are dead.
Perfect.
Bob, like King Cooter. What's his name?
Huh? I don't know. I don't know what you're referencing.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. It's just there was a Cooter on there that you always hated, and I
Oh,
can't.
is it what's his dick from Torme?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's Daenerys's like little right
What is
hand
that fucker's
cooter.
name?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. That dude's not awesome. Anyway, Anthony, what you been watching, man?
Well, by happenstance, the other night I kind of had a Scarlett Joe double feature. So I watched
What?
Scarlett Johansson.
Oh,
Yeah, it's Scar Joe.
Scarlet Joe Bob is what I assume.
Scarlett
I
Joe.
heard Scarlet Ho, so I wasn't sure where we were going with this.
Hey, whatever floats your boat, Ming. So I watched Lost in Translation for the first time.
one of my favorites.
Yeah, and then I paired that with Under the Skin.
Ah, nice.
Boy.
Which is a very different film.
Tonal change.
Yeah. I enjoyed both tremendously for very different reasons. I bought Under the Skin forever ago. It was like the A24 release, I think from like 2013 or something like that. And I guess it was a financial bomb. But yeah, very like Kubrickian in a way. It's definitely a slow burn of a film, has some like really alien elements of an alien story, I guess. But yeah, I highly recommend it if you're kind of into slow burn pseudo horror. And then I watched, let's see, Blew My Mind, which is BLUE on Shudder. It was a Swiss foreign, I guess, coming of age film. And even though it's on Shudder, it wasn't entirely a horror film at all. Kind of like a drama with like light body horror elements. It follows this. Yeah.
Those Swedes.
You never know what to expect. So that film, it follows this young girl going through, adolescence, and she's like slowly becoming like a mermaid. But it's like super fucked and gross.
As it should be.
I recommend it though. It was really good.
Yeah, I've seen a trailer for this movie. It's an odd one. It looks pretty bizarre.
So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I've been binge watching Cinemassacre's like rental reviews. So I've been going through that on James Rolfe's channel, and been watching like a bunch of Binging with Babish. If you guys watch him.
You're getting some of my faves now.
Yeah, man. So yeah. That's it for now.
Cool. I honestly, like Justin said, we just recorded a show a few days ago, and I've just been working a lot. So the only thing I've actually watched is like a couple episodes of The Sopranos. That's about it.
Have you gone through the series before, or is this your first time?
No, I've been through it a couple times. It's one of those like shows I just throw on
a few times
while I do other things. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, we had the discussion where I watched it for the first time like many years. It's been a while, and I was like pretty underwhelmed.
Yeah,
I think
I'm a fan.
I think at the same time too, because like that was such a hot show, but I also was like covering The Wire around a similar time and found The Wire to be the far superior show.
It's tighter. It's much tighter, but
all right.
Yeah,
but no Long Island accents, so.
No.
You give a little, you take a little. I don't know.
It's true. Hey.
I also went to Disneyland this week. It's the first time I've gone to fucking Disneyland. That was great.
Oh yeah. What? How does it compare to? I don't know. What do we have in Orlando? Like Magic
Disneyland
or whatever.
Disney World.
Disney World.
The Disney feudal district.
How does it compare?
Disney Empire.
The actual park itself, it's much smaller for Disneyland itself. We went to also California Adventure, and just between the two of them, California Adventure is clearly much more modern in terms of like theming areas and all that shit. But the original, it's kind of fun to see all that shit. Got to ride a bunch of fucking rides. Fucking Snow White's Scary Adventures is there, which is I tried to ride everything that you don't have in the Magic Kingdom.
Yeah,
and that shit is actually pretty fucking scary. like scarier than you think it would be. Because it's a fucking Snow White thing with dwarves and shit. But there's like skeletons and chains and shit.
Dwarves.
Like I don't know, witches popping out and shit. It's fucking great. I don't know. It's pretty fun. And I would say that it's not as good as Magic Kingdom to me, just because they can do more with like more space, and really that's the main reason. But it's fun, man. It's like. It's a lot easier to get in and out of, that's for sure. So I don't know. I could talk about that for hours. I'm a theme park dork, so it was kind of interesting for me to sort of like go and see the little differences between Magic Kingdom and Disneyland and all that shit.
Do you watch Defunctland?
Oh yeah, I watched Defunctland, Theme
fucking
Park
love
History, fucking all them motherfuckers. Yesterworld. I love that shit. It's
so good.
Fucking cocaine in my veins. I just like learning about all this like dumb, unimportant shit. It's great. It's
All right,
Randy. Well, let's go ahead and talk about none of that ever again and get into the main feature with the back of the box. All right, we're talking about Lords of Chaos this week on Straight Chilling. This movie technically came out in 2018. It had like a very limited run, I guess. It hit festivals and whatnot, and then it's been on VOD for like a month or two now, and then it's actually getting a physical release this May finally. But it's directed by Jonas Åkerlund, and He was actually in a death metal band or a black metal band himself called Bathory for a little while, for like a short stint. So I guess he kind of has some street cred there, and he's also directed like some music videos for like Metallica and
Madonna.
And Madonna.
and I think like Miley Cyrus maybe.
True
So
black metal.
true.
Look, guys, I'm not saying he paints his nails black, but it is mentioned in an article that he fucking paints his nails black. So there you go.
I guess
Why would you mention that?
Because it's cred, bro. That's cred.
I got
If middle school metal explorations taught me anything, it's that black nail polish means you got fucking metal cred.
Big shopper at Hot Topic here, Jonas Ackerland. Anyway, the plot synopsis here is as follows: a teenager's quest to launch Norwegian black metal in Oslo in the early 1990s results in a very violent outcome. So this is like based on true events, or loosely based on true events. So there's a book by the same name that's sort of what inspired this movie, and kind of the title card, like as the movie first starts, it says like based on truth, lies, and what actually happened. So you can sort of take everything that you see with a bit of a grain of salt. But I like that it sort of opens with that first
I like
thing.
that. I really like that too, because sometimes the like based on true story can rub me like a little wrong starting a movie, because then I'm like, well, what is real? You know, like goddamn Texas Chainsaw Massacre based on true story. And it's like, oh my god,
that's the poster boy for the not quite designation of true story.
So to start off a movie that like for the most part like grounds itself like well, so there's not a whole lot of like, oh my god, could that actually happen? Like I it's just like keeps it lighter. It's a good way to let people know like, hey, like some of this shit is real, but like also say like you don't have to like worry about it.
You know, I think I don't know if this was made before, after, or during the I, Tanya's release, but I think that it kind of takes a similar tack in that. Have you guys seen that movie?
I haven't.
Yeah, it's kind of a similar tone. It's
got
a heavy subject matter, but it's very funny.
Yeah, well, what I was specifically thinking of is like sort of it kind of cops right up front to the fact that the specifics are kind of bullshitted along based on testimonies of different people with different versions of the events.
Oh, okay.
So it just sort of like it allows the movie to play through those events whichever way it wants, without, and then they'll be like this is what, and like the person will look to camera and say, well, this is what Jeff said happened. I didn't really do this or whatever. Which is kind of awesome, but this movie kind of does like a lighter version of that, where it's like, yeah, some of this is going to be filled in with some duct tape and caulking fluid. You're just going to
from what I understand, Jonas Ackerland in interviews, he's stated that even the book itself is somewhat biased in its own regard, just because there's a little more of I guess hate towards the events and the people involved with the events of all this happening, and obviously understandably so, but the book follows it doesn't really follow a neutral tone to that degree.
Is the book, correct me if I'm wrong, is the book written by the bassist? I can't remember the bassist of the band, or was that?
Yeah, I don't think so. He did write a book. He wrote a book from prison.
Maybe that's what it was. Okay. No. Not. I'm not talking about Varg.
Oh, you're talking about like OG. I think
like
his name was like Necromancer or something.
Necrobusher.
Necro Butcher. I love these guys' names.
I can't remember. I'm gonna look it up.
I always just say like guy and woman and things like that, dad. But I like want to call these guys out because their names are ridiculous.
So the dudes that wrote the book, it's two guys, Michael Moynihan and Didrik Soderlund, I think. I started reading it. I have not finished it yet, but it is very unkind to Euronymous so far.
Okay, so it isn't written by anybody involved, but it's Michael Moynihan is a journalist and Didrik Soderlund is a humanist, humanist skeptic, secular humanist skeptic.
What?
Oh, he is also a journalist. Okay, I just didn't get up to that part yet. They front loaded some other shit. So yeah.
Real quick, let's do a round table and just say, quick recommend or not recommend, and then we'll drop spoiler warning and chop this thing up. Justin, why don't you kick us off? Would you recommend people check out Lords of Chaos?
I definitely would recommend people check out Lords of Chaos. I think I have maybe a little bit of a bias. Like I don't know. I really just like seeing these guys coming up and like in a music kind of scene. I don't know. Some of it just kind of related to like, coming up as a teenager a little bit. So, having like a strong interest in like music and stuff like that, it was like particularly interesting to me. So as a horror film, it's not like a Halloween, like spooky kind of thing, but I thought it was a cool, interesting movie that was done really well. What the hell is that?
Dishes, probably.
I don't know.
Straight cooking.
Randy, what about you, man? Recommend?
Yeah, I would. I mean, I want to front load by saying it's not for anybody with a delicate tummy. There's some pretty brutal gore in this movie for what little that is there. And I would say, as somebody who doesn't really have any particular affection for like this style of black metal or anything like that, and who didn't really like explore too deeply into that growing up, I would say that it's not a necessity to watch it. I think it's definitely worthy of a peek. I don't think it's more than a one watcher for me, but I think that you could do a lot worse, a lot fucking worse than a rental or a stream of this. It's obviously not in theaters, but which is a shame. I kind of wish I had seen it in theaters. But yeah, I would recommend it. I think overall.
Cool. Anthony, what about you, man? Recommend or no?
I think if you're wanting to see a new perspective on like a true crime event, told in a very dramatized way, I would recommend it. I think it's a very, important, and I say that with a perspective that I'll touch on later in the episode, but I think it's an important piece of true crime history that a lot of people should probably know about, because what happened is, absolutely terrible.
Cool. I mean, not cool, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
What
What the fuck,
recommend?
Rob?
Sometimes you gotta not
Sorry.
auto response, Rob. Put the soundboard
That's chill.
down.
That's very chill, Anthony.
That's hot.
Thank you for your chill response.
So hot.
Yeah, I recommend the hell out of this. That's all I really want to say. Fucking slam your eyeballs into some Lords of Chaos. It's definitely not
Goth
like
Bob recommended.
Rob, for somebody so precious about his eyes, you sure do a lot of
I really
eyeballs.
am. I really am.
Uh,
Yeah, it's not like that much of like a true blue horror movie, but there are some very tough to watch, brutal moments. So just keep that in mind while you're going into it. Yeah, so let's go ahead and drop the spoiler warning and talk about this movie. All right, gents.
So if you want your own black metal name, there's a black metal name generator I have found.
What's the entire URL in detail?
Meatspin.com.
it's .org, you fucking cuck.
Oh,
It's
Rob,
.gov. You slut whore.
it's Rinky, RINKI.net/PEKKA/BM. I don't know what any of this thing.
Yeah.
.ca.
You can have your own black metal name. I put soju stains in there and it came out with some wild shit, but I couldn't pronounce any of it, so I just went with Satan stain.
It's all Swedish.
does it automatically have the incredibly difficult to read hand-drawn logo for you when it comes up? I think black metal nickname.
Just go. There's a guy. There's like a black metal like guy on here, and he's pretty hilarious. He looks like a wrestler.
There's a
He's
lot
got
of
no
crossover
shirt on.
So I have a really interesting story about my introduction to this movie. If I could like do a short little thing about it real quick.
Sure.
Do it.
Cool. So I've researched this story for a while.
Hang on. I lost you guys there for a minute.
Bob. I did see that you froze.
Robert.
I hope you got all my good jokes.
Hang on. Let me. I'm gonna stop it and go back real quick and find a good place to cut.
Deep zap zorp. We're back.
Zip zap zap.
God damn.
All right. So I think the last thing I got was Justin's quote hilarious joke about the black metal guy that looks like a wrestler.
Aren't you guys watching this on YouTube?
Oh
That's
yeah.
just how-
Let
that's
me
all such a
pause
vid.
the YouTube. Let me fix it so it looks good.
Can't happen.
Nah.
Fucked. We are fucked.
So Anthony, you were about to say stuff, but I missed the setup.
So
I
just
can,
give
like-
a 1, 2, 3.
So I have an interesting story about this film. I was,
Hang
fu-
on, hang on.
you know, you're really.
When I point, then you can jump in, okay?
Oh,
I
okay,
just,
all right.
I just wanted to kind of get you ready for it.
You're killing me here.
You
Hang on.
keep poking the dragon, Bob.
I'll give you the point, okay? Give me like 2 seconds.
Zit.
Oh,
Ah.
boy.
Hey, all right. So I have an interesting story about this film for the third time.
What? I have not heard of this.
Yeah. I can't believe you guys haven't heard this story before. So I've been following the story and the cases of this for a couple of years now, and I haven't really been incredibly vocal about this, but you know, I'm an aspiring filmmaker and I want to make my own stories one day, and so I was actually considering making a biopic on the events of this film, and it wasn't until I think maybe a year after the fact that I found out about Lords of Chaos on the festival circuit. I was like super pissed. But regardless, I was interested, like, okay, well, I want to see how this is handled. So I went to a local theater. It was like a midnight showing, which was even cooler. And there was like a bunch of people there in like corpse paint, and they had like mayhem shirts. And,
Nice.
you know,
no.
and then there was just me and my friend, just, you know, just average Joes.
Hey guys.
And yeah, it was definitely a hard watch, I'll say. But the one thing I will praise this film for is that it doesn't like glorify the violence. I would say it kind of pretty much shows it as it is, and it kind of shows that there are real life brutal consequences to the actions that these stupid kids took, and that's on full display.
Yeah, I agree with that entirely. Actually,
Yeah, I like
make the same
that.
point.
And I like this movie got me like really curious as well. And one of the things that I kind of took away from some of the things I was reading about this was like other people's kind of perception of this like group at the time. Are these just like these fans? Or like, you know, this it's almost like kind of cult a little bit, and their like whole thing was like just their indifference to kind of death too. Like when people that were like supposedly their friends like died or were killed or killed themselves, they were like not really fazed by it. It didn't really faze them, and I feel like the movie kind of covered that in a way, but then also did a pretty good job of like humanizing it as well. So I thought that show, like, not glorifying the violence, but also kind of capturing a little bit of like kind of what it was like to just kind of be indifferent to it, but then also kind of giving it the perception of, well, you know, like these are also human beings as well. So even though that might have been somebody's perception that they didn't like feel anything, like they probably in some capacity really did. So I thought that was kind of cool.
Right. Yeah. Based on what you said earlier, kind of how there's almost like a cult following. There's like the black metal community, and I'll probably get shit for it, but I don't fucking care. You know, it's kind of built around gatekeeping in that regard. And a lot of it's like that. There's a lot of hate for this film, especially from the black metal community, just
Fucking
because
posers.
yeah, because they don't really believe in like press, and they don't believe in like kind of word of mouth. It's all about like you gotta discover it for yourself, and you have to be evil enough to you know to find it on your own and summon Satan, and it's just, you know, a lot of the, not saying like you can't enjoy black metal, but I guess back in the day and to a certain regard now, a lot of that community is built on kind of being pure evil and not sharing, you know, and
You know,
shit like that.
One of my favorite things about this movie here, like Euronymous is sort of like the character that we follow throughout the movie primarily. And like he takes that concept of like, we don't play shows and we don't tour and we don't promote, and like being in a magazine is like against this whole true Norwegian black metal thing. He kind of like takes his character in this movie, and he takes that and just sort of like shits all over it, like especially towards the end of the movie where he's like, he says something along the lines of like saying, we don't sell out sells, and like he's like really focused on marketing. Even like right before he gets stabbed to death, he's like, you can just leave now. He's only being stabbed like 2 or 3 times. You can just leave now. We can spin this. We can make this a big thing. It'll be great. He's just like so like hooked on that aspect of it. I think it's really interesting. Whether that's true to life or not, I don't know that it really is.
Yeah. So Euronymous in real life, there was near the end of kind of everything that was going on, he was kind of falling out of it, and he was doing it kind of just to save face, I guess, or doing it kind of because it sells. And that's kind of how black metal started in a way. Like I believe it was Venom coined it, and they had an album just called Black Metal. And you had like this first wave of Norwegian black metal, and it was like Venom and maybe like Bathory or something. And then I think the second wave was like Mayhem in Gorgoroth. And it wasn't until the second wave that, people tried to be more, embrace the evil, and you can't share things, and, you actually got to like be a fucking human scum. And it's funny because the first wave of black metal was it was pretty much just like Kiss in a certain regard of like, you're doing it for show, to sell things because, Satan is dangerous and edgy.
That's so like the first time I heard about this story was actually through Dan Harmon's podcast, Harmontown, which I've brought up before.
Okay.
And I don't remember the episode or anything like that. I tried to look for it, but it's tough to find. They just sort of brought it up organically. Mm-hmm. But the way that they put it was so interesting to me, and I kept thinking about it throughout this movie. It's like these guys, they heard, what the Scorpions were doing or what people were doing in America with metal in general at the time, Kiss even, and they saw what they were doing, and they like, oh, this is like rebellious. This is appealing to them. But in Norway, for some reason, it stopped being about, or I guess like at least within the context of the story and everything, it just seemed like it stopped being about like, okay, this is just something to piss off your folks. and I think the gatekeeping that you brought up, Anthony, is part and parcel to that. Like, the true Scotsmen among them were like, well, no, you're not, this isn't about partying, even though it definitely was originally about partying.
Right.
And it's like people started taking these things at face value, and they started fucking burning churches and like killing people. So, yeah. I mean, I thought that was fucking fascinating. And I also like to me, this movie is more about just like just youthful rebellion and like what it takes to sort of like navigate through that, especially when you're part of like a really caustic group like of individuals, like not necessarily the scene, because there's plenty of kids that even today listen to metal and are perfectly reasonable people who aren't stabbing folk. But like you see these kids that are like they're
all right,
not going further. Oh shit, am I back?
Yeah.
I was just saying, like, they're giving each other shit for not going further, or they're giving each other shit for selling out and all this stuff. And these selling out, like, the dangers of how you're perceived by this small group of dipshits will lead you to do some really fucking stupid things. And in the case of this particular scene, because the rhetoric is all about, like, murder and evil and death, it leads to those things. Like, it's sort of that old adage, I think it was a Vonnegut, where it's like, you are what you pretend to be. I think that's Vonnegut. I don't know. I'm probably wrong. But like, if you pretend to be something, eventually you run the risk of like becoming indiscernible from that thing. Yeah. Or living up to it. Like it's like if you pretend, if you're an undercut, like think of The Departed. If you're fucking Leonardo DiCaprio who wants to be a cop his whole life and then like winds up being internalized into a cover operation with Jack Nicholson's gang, like eventually, like you're gonna get some blood on your hands potentially. You have to navigate those waters really carefully to retain your actual sense of self. But teenagers don't have that sense of self yet, so they'll do all kinds of crazy shit. I mean,
And
See,
the worst
I
thing
actu-
is, sorry, go on.
Oh no, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say real quick. You know, the worst thing out of all that too is like a lot of this was done because like I think the level of lifestyle was so high in Sweden and Norway. So a lot of this was done because of they were fucking bored, which is just
Yeah.
even more like anger inducing.
Yeah, and like, because the dude was like, "Oh, my dad like helped me buy this like record shop." Like everything, you kind of
Yeah.
get these. Like, I feel like this film navigates a lot of those kind of like finer details really well, to where it's not hammered home. Like, but you know, the kid, but he does like open up like, "Oh, Norway or whatever, Sweden, wherever they're from." Like, "Oh, you know, we're
Norway,
good."
yeah.
Good middle class, and like the family, he's got his little sister and stuff like that. So I mean, they address it, and then you know, the Varg's mom pays for the record deal and like stuff like
Yeah.
that. But they don't like really harp on it, you know, so you're able to kind of navigate the story on your own and like pick up things. But one thing like I really loved, I've said it a lot, I really enjoy cult movies, and it feels like there's just, it's not something that gets made a whole lot in the same kind of vein around like horror as like, you know, a yearly slasher or a yearly like creature feature or something like that. And I like this film in that kind of aspect too, because the three, like, examining the three kind of psyches behind what eventually like led to this cult, and seeing how something can easily get developed to where like you would look back on it after like crazy things have happened and you would be like, how would anybody even get to that level? But it's like a lot easier to see how it would get to that level, because you have, like, to me the focus is you have Euronymous and Dead, who kind of start that whole thing. And like where Dead's thing is like, he's like not interested in starting any kind of cult, or really like they don't even in the aspect of this film, like his thing isn't necessarily the music. Like he's all about the music because that's Euronymous' thing at first kind of, but like Dead just like really feels it. Like he's just like mentally, like
He's depressed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's a depressed
very,
person.
very,
Yeah.
very depressed. And so Euronymous kind of like takes that, and that's kind of his inspiration. But because of his personality of like, actually, he's not really depressed, but he's kind of like, that's his friend, and he's kind of drawn to that. So he takes his natural personality and kind of spins it as this type of like fame type of thing and uses that. And then Varg gets inspired by Euronymous, but Varg is actually like really fucked up in a psychotic way. So you have the depressed guy who like is just kind of naturally dark because he's fucking depressed. You have the kind of like liar who like is inspired by that, and then you have like this like psychotic guy who is inspired by that. And seeing how they like feed off of each other and how that like kind of spirals out of control is really, really interesting to me. Like I thought they handled it really well.
That's true.
Yeah.
One of the things I liked about the relationship between Dead and Rory Culkin, whatever his fucking name is.
Euronymous.
Euronymous. I can never keep these names straight. But Dead and Euronymous is like what I kind of took from that. I was a little bit confused. Like, okay, so this isn't like the main guy. Like, it seems like we're not going back to this enough to where I understand what the correlation is. But I think what it was showing was that Euronymous was sort of like, at least within the context of this movie, was inspired by the fact that Dead was he was his friend, and he was a dude who was depressed. That's clear. They don't add any sort of heroics to that, to his state of mind whatsoever. He's just a kid who's depressed, and black metal, being in this black metal band, is what gives him whatever drive to live he actually has, big or small. So like it's almost like he sees the value of his own doings at work in somebody who's worse off than he is, and he's inspired by that to keep going. And also, but then he also co-opts it in a way where he's like, you know, at the end of the movie, we find like he pretty much explicitly states, like we said, well, I mean, yeah, this is like the quote unquote authenticity. That's what sells. That's why we got to take what's authentic, which like my feelings for my friend Dead, who killed himself, and turn it, and I can sell that. I can sell, like, it's almost, I don't want to say it's comeuppance or anything like that. I'm not saying that whatsoever, but it's just interesting to see how that sort of gets twisted from character to character and morphs into something really putrid and fucked up by the time it gets to Varg.
They have sort of this competition like that's birthed between Euronymous and Varg, because like once Varg sort of enters the quote black circle, and he makes his first Burzum record, and it's like quote like the most evil sound anyone's ever heard. and then he is the first one to actually set fire to a church too, which Euronymous has been like talking about for quite some time. But he it seems as though he never has any intent to do anything like that. He just likes to talk about crazy shit. And then Varg psycho ass, it actually does it. And then all of a sudden Euronymous is sort of like eclipsed. Like Euronymous is no longer like the most satanic person. It's all Varg. So,
but he's got too much social in it to let it go. So
yeah, and Euronymous also tries to take full credit for it. He's like, I'm glad, we did it finally. I've been talking about it for years, and you finally were inspired by my words. And then he does the same thing with, I forget the character's name, the guy that actually stabs the
Squeak. I don't know
the guy in the park.
I actually don't know that dude's name either.
It's Faust. Is that Faust?
Yes, it was Faust.
It was Faust.
Yeah,
because he was later arrested.
Yeah, Faust is like talking to Euronymous in the record shop one day, and he's like, I wonder what it'd feel like to feel, stab someone and feel the knife go through flesh. And Euronymous is like, I don't know, maybe you should just do it, like off the cuff, not thinking that he actually would. He goes out and does it.
Yeah, it's just bullshit.
Like,
I love his like nonchalant. Yeah, he's just like, oh, maybe like it's almost like a sarcastic. Well,
to the point where Faust didn't even remember that he said it. Like,
You did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when he finds out, that's like his second reaction. He's like, oh shit, I told him to do it. I told him to do it.
Yeah.
He's like,
his ego is
that's
massive.
what's interesting. Is like you've got Dead who's using death metal to sort of assuage a real pain. You've got Euronymous who's co-opting the pain that he may or may not have had to a lesser extent than Dead to promote himself. So one is listening to death metal or participating in death metal to fix himself. One is using it to promote himself, and Varg is using it just at face value. It just twists into this real, like, this play acting eventually birthed it came into the ears of somebody who was poised to do something violent.
Yeah. Well, and I think we didn't really talk about it, but it like helps like with the whole like Euronymous just kind of being a bullshitter anyways, is so Dead kills himself like, I don't know, around like pretty soon,
20
minutes in. So Dead kills himself, and it's a brutal scene, man. And not only does he kill himself, this scene right before that, they have a concert and he starts cutting himself on stage, his arms. And like the blood splattering on the crowd, and they're like loving it, and then they throw like a pig head into the crowd, and people like start eating it, and then they just go. Then I love it. They go to a fucking like kebab shop after that, and but the thing was
full corpse paint still.
Fucking Dead's like they had to like duct tape up his like arms, and like nobody gives a shit. Like Dead is like pretty out of it. He's obviously lost a shit ton of blood, and he's like got fucking duct tape all over his arms, and like nobody like kind of gives any shit about him. And then like the next scene is he kills himself. He fucking cuts both arms again, and then he cuts his throat. And then writes a suicide note, and then shoots himself in the head to die. And then fucking Euronymous finds him, and the whole thing about it is like Euronymous' thing. He always says this like fucked up shit, but in a way, like he like lucked in to like the evil. Like his friend killed himself. And the most fucked up thing he did was then he didn't call the police immediately. He like took photographs of it. But I was reading like about it, and I think like the OG bassist or whatever who ended up getting like really fucking pissed off at him. He was later doing an interview, and he was like, honestly, I think it was like his way of coping with finding his friend dead, because he said he would like show people. He would be like, look at these pictures of my friend dead. And it was almost like a way of like feeling like not alone, like, or like, please share this experience with me, because it was so overwhelming to him, because he wasn't truly like black metal is like so evil.
But he was channeled it through the only lens that he had exercised for the last several years, which is death worship.
But then he kind of like lucked into it, because then he had that reputation, and so he just kind of like would bullshit even more, like, oh, you should burn down a church, oh, you should stab people, like, oh, I've taken pictures of a dead body, it doesn't bother me. And then when people start doing it, he's like, oh shit, like
yeah,
oh,
he's like,
I don't want to
people are really buying into my bullshit.
I don't want to murder anybody. Yeah, so it's like, it's
I
so
think
interesting.
The escalation is so understandable when they tell it in this particular story, and to the like, Anthony, you're more expert than we are, I guess, in terms of what the actual story is. But it sounds like if it's just taking the movie at face value, it's understandable to the point where, like, a young kid with, who's struggling with identity or has found a community that they feel valued in, how they might deal with that, especially when it's centered around death and dying and killing and being evil. Like,
Right.
I don't know. I think that's fucking fascinating, to be honest. Like,
Yeah.
it's not a world that I'm privy to.
A part of this story makes me really frustrated for many reasons, but Euronymous in particular, since we're talking about him at the moment, like, in the beginning, you almost kind of, or throughout the story or the film in general, you kind of have sympathy to a certain degree with Euronymous, and, like, he's trying to kind of gain control because there's almost like a power vacuum now, where Dead was about death metal and he was legitimate about it, even though it could have just been severe depression and he wasn't getting the help he really needed for it. And obviously he didn't have people surrounding in his life that didn't tell him to, hey, don't fucking cut your wrists and, like, let's get you some help or whatever. But like you were saying earlier, Euronymous kind of co-opted that, and Dead became almost like a kind of like a Kurt Cobain figure, if you want to kind of have an American representation of, like, well, Dead was about it, so basically from then on it became like a dick measuring contest. And with Euronymous it was just about money, and with Varg he weaponized a philosophy, and that's when it became dangerous. And that's when you get things like, the fucking thing that happened with I think Gaul from Gorgoroth. Do you guys know about that?
No.
Yes. So, like, this happened, I think, much later, and it's just another unfortunate story of the lead singer from Gorgoroth basically, like, kidnapped this one dude and like tortured him and, like, tied him to a chair and shit. And
Holy shit.
Yeah, and basically, like, he needed, like, blood, and he like cut the dude up and started, like, draining him for blood in, like, a bucket, and like, and that
He needed blood for what?
Probably some bullshit, like,
Okay.
dramatic
To drink it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was just like, he needed blood. I was like,
Yeah.
He was
For a
undergoing
bath.
chemo. He was undergoing chemotherapy.
But yeah, I feel like that's the most dangerous thing out of all this is, like, when you weaponize a philosophy, that's when you get all these people coming out of the woodwork, and it just, you can't take that out of black metal now. It's like synonymous with black metal, and that's fucking terrible. Like,
I loved, and this is like kind of a non sequitur, but I loved when Varg invited the journalist in.
dude, I
And the
was just
journalist
about to
was-
say it, dude. The
I
same.
made me
Yeah.
laugh, but the journalist was like, "So, okay, you are
Right.
a pagan. What was it? You're a
Nazi.
pagan,
And a
Nazi,
Satanist.
and a Satanist." He's
Like,
like,
those
"Oh,
are
that's
that's a pretty broad, conflicting, like, group of,
He's
like,
He's like, yeah,
I-
but they're the same thing if you, like, think about it, or whatever he says.
He's like, I understand that someone as simple as you, it might be difficult for you
Yeah,
to
that's
understand.
right.
He's like, yes, it is difficult.
he was
to
like, it
understand."
is difficult to understand. Please explain it to me.
which is,
We're pretty hardline Christians.
him doing that, which he did in real life, makes me kind of, like, cock my head a little bit, because the whole thing was like, we're not about promotion, and, like, Varg was pissed at Euronymous for, like, I think his Kerrang. They, like, posted some article in
Yeah.
Kerrang, which kind of spread the black metal scene and everything they'd done. But fucking Varg goes to a fucking journalist.
That was a result of him going to a journalist.
Yeah, and he doesn't have the hindsight to think, like, there's no way I'm gonna face consequences. Like, you fucking moron.
That I loved. That was, like, one of my favorite scenes. So I was gonna bring it up because of that, but also just one of the things that kind of, like, by the end of this film, when it shocked me, was a bunch of people get arrested and they're like 19-year-old Christian, whatever. That's his, like, real name,
Yeah,
Varg. And I was like,
very
oh
young.
shit, like. And even Euronymous by the end, they're like 25 years old. And I was like, like you're following these characters along and they are doing some like wild shit and you see it escalate, but then by the end of it you realize like, holy shit, this is just a fucking like kid. Like this is just, by the end of it, he's still only 19 years old. And like just that idea, like I'm going to go to the press and I'm going to let like the hair cover my face and nobody will know who it is. Like it's so stupid. It's like, but it's so immature and like so like reveals just like a complete lack of understanding, which is, I think, another thing that just, it's like not like shoved down your throat. It's just kind of a hint of like the culture is like these were like raised up spoiled kids. Like they're not like they don't know like how the press really works. They don't know how like consequences of jail really works. Like they've been like nurtured their whole lives. And this dude invites a journalist over and says like, I killed somebody. I burned down like multiple churches, and with the idea that his hair is going to cover his face. And so that makes him like and able to be like prosecuted. It's so fine, ridiculous. Yeah. And it just shows like I love these little moments because they're trying to show like the true disgust of like what this is, but it's so human at the same time too. This stupid fucking kid who's calling himself like I'm the Count, and like it's just so
I love 12 nicknames.
Yeah, it's got like a sword and shit, and it's like just so immature stupidity.
Primping before the journalist gets there and gets the ram storm. That
so
shit cracked.
When the journalists first walk in and he got his new name, he just says Griffy Grishnak, and the journalist is like, "Excuse me, Griffy Grishnak." I just don't know what you're saying. He's like, "Call me Count. Call me the Count.
Call me the Count." And the dude's like bringing in the tea and shit. Hey, you guys want some tea? Like it's just so human, like because there's just these spoiled ass kids where one of them too, he's just probably been raised to be polite and fucking shit, but he's like in this black metal cult circle or whatever. He's like, hey, you guys like want some tea and shit? And it's like funny, but it's also like probably like a real reality. Like these kids growing up where their parents are buying them black metal like record deals and like buying them black metal like record shops and like sending them flowers. Like
their parents pay for everything.
Yeah, I hope your opening day goes good on your record shop. It's like all these nice flowers from his mom, and it's like all black metal, and it's just like the ridiculousness of it all, and like the youth of it all. It's like understandable and relatable, while at the same time like so gruesome and so terrible. And the blend that they accomplish in this movie is like, to me, pretty spot on. Nothing ever felt like shoved down my throat. It all felt like very interesting and relatable, strikes like a great balance. But then at the same time too, not like saying at the beginning of this movie, like some things we make up, because then they do make it an entertaining movie where like we do follow Euronymous, and like he probably was a much shittier person than what we follow, but you want to have somebody to attach yourself to. So by the end, it shows him like when he actually discovers his friend who killed himself, and he's just like openly weeping, and he like admits that like the skull piece necklaces that he gave away are fakes. They're chicken bones, and he didn't actually eat a piece of his brain. Like he's actually a human being who misses his friend and who doesn't want to die, who like is trying to escape this dick measuring contest because he's actually like maturing and becoming like a 25-year-old person where he's like, oh fuck this, like fuck this black metal bullshit.
Okay though. So like if someone you were not on good terms with drove like I think like 12 hours out of their way at like 3 a.m. and was like, hey, let me up, I want to talk to you, what would your first response be? Because I know mine would be fuck no.
I thought the same exact thing. The only thing that gave it any legitimacy was the contract, where he's like,
they could have fucking mailed it.
Exactly. And he was like, you could have mailed it, and he was like, I want this done as soon as possible. And I was like, that's kind of understandable, because this dude has been yanking him around and like owes him potentially like a lot of money. So the whole idea of like, I'm gonna get like my money or like get my rights back. The only thing that was really fucking stupid about that scene, I will say, is like, so at this point Euronymous has been like stabbed a couple times and he's going, and there's a scene where dude's fucking drinking the milk, which I want to talk about that in a second. That's gonna be probably in the cooter segment, but fucking Euronymous is trying to find a key to get out, and literally in the shot, and they had shown it several times throughout the movie, there's like this fencing sword like right up against the wall, like, you know, like that sword that they show sometimes where they like have fencing, and like at one point he was actually looking for a knife, and I like saw the shot and I was like, oh, he's gonna grab the fencing sword and like defend himself, because the other dude was just using like a, like not a huge, it wasn't like a Bowie knife or anything, it was just like a knife and stabbing him. Or I was like, oh, but it was just a weird thing to include. I was like, oh, there's that fencing sword.
I didn't see that. I guess I missed
it was like right up it was like, you know how like it would just be tucked in the corner, like there's the door and there's the corner of the wall, like it was just there, and I was like, well, that was strange.
Like if you're following like real life physics and logic, you know, I don't like, after being stabbed, I don't think anyone would have the energy to actually like try and defend themselves with a fencing sword, which necessarily isn't really like a you know, a close quarters fighting type of thing. Like it's not like a regular sword, you know, besides like, you know, you have the one sharp tip, right?
Yeah.
I didn't even notice that sword, so that was news to me.
That like last scene, like he got stabbed, I don't know, 20, 30 times.
Yeah,
like,
it was like 30, like I think 32 times, something like that.
Yeah, so that was part of the real story.
Yeah, like 16 in the back, several times in the throat, like twice in the head or whatever. Like in
that
reality,
last one in the freaking brain, man.
Yeah, man.
That's the worst thing too, is like, you know, by that point, Euronymous was like already trying to leave the scene. He was like more interested in electronic music. He like cut off his hair and everything. So all that's real. And he wanted out of it. And so it was kind of Varg who like got that notion in his head that like Euronymous was going to kill him, even though he was probably just, you know, it's the fucking death metal scene. It's all like dick measuring contest. He's just a fucking idiot.
Black metal. We don't want to
black
offend.
metal. Sorry. Yeah, we don't want to offend.
The designations are very clear.
Yeah.
Well, and some of the like some of the interviews I was reading too is like the same thing. Like a lot of people, like there was kind of like this cult around Euronymous after his death. And like he then was kind of like hailed as like this icon. But then a lot of people too were kind of like relieved because he was a big talker and it was the black metal scene, so they would be like, yeah, he would just like threaten people and you would never know at that point. So really, like there's this cult of people who are all about black metal, but they're all just going around threatening each other and nobody knows who's gonna fucking actually kill them. And so a lot of them were like, yeah, we're kind of like relieved that he was dead, even though we were like, oh, fuck Varg or whatever. But it's just such a weird, like it's such a weird thing, but it's easily understandable how a bunch of kids like we get, like at first they were always like, yeah, we're hanging out in this basement, we're drinking, we're partying, we're, you know, fucking chicks, and then like shit starts getting real, and but like those are your friends, or that's where you hang out and you dress a certain way. It's not like, well, let me just go hang out, you know, like at the Denny's now, you know, and then so they just kind of get sucked into it. And it's just like, oh, it's crazy.
I do have a couple frustrations with this film. Even though I thoroughly enjoyed it, I feel like one of my biggest things was the strange voiceover, where it was kind of like almost like Wanted at the end, like, what the fuck have you done lately? Like, there's like, that's weird. That's just kind of strange. And then also like these weird like Jacob's Ladder segment kind of things of like him going through the forest and it like spinning out of control. And I was like, I don't really need this. This is kind of dumb.
Yeah.
I think that was just to bring Dead back into the movie for a second. But even that, like,
and also to like humanize like a little bit, like he's dealing with his own like depression.
That's ultimately what Euronymous' arc needs, is to have some sort of reference to his dead friend, but it doesn't need to be that. And I think that they did that to give a little like Samson reference when he's cutting his hair and shit, you know, like he's that, like there's no clear, like literally the man's profile changed entirely to match his change in maturity and his change in how he's approaching his life. So, I mean, I think that was part of it because literally that scene where he's about to get his haircut and he's like, wait, because he's getting flashes of his friend who he's been mourning for half the movie. Like, yeah, it's pretty clear that they're doing that for a reason, but I agree that it's like maybe a little heavy-handed for a movie that like is just in general heavy-handed and about heavy-handed people.
Right. So like it's trying to follow kind of this realistic tone throughout most of the thing. But then you kind of like have these like crazy shaky hyper zoom in on like a raven or crow in the forest and shit like that.
True, yeah.
Yeah. And I was just like, that's weird. That's weird
Like
that they
Bran
would do
is
that.
a warg.
But yeah, sorry, I'm talking everyone's ear off.
No, that was good. Yeah, because we didn't
haven't
really talk about those segments, which are important to the film because like that it does happen more towards the end where it is trying to like humanize Euronymous, but and then they have that ending where he's like, you're like, you've just watched this guy die and you kind of like, you do feel bad for him because at this point we've seen him like crying over his dead friend and like he's got kind of a girlfriend now, he's cutting his hair, but then like he comes back at the very end and he's still just like this kind of cocky asshole who you still like want to hate, you know? So because like reading about this guy, it seems like he actually was a bigger piece of shit than like what this movie, you know, you need somebody to kind of latch on. But that's what I kind of appreciate about this movie too, because it's like, well, we're also still trying to make a movie, and in a movie you want to have somebody with an arc and somebody you can relate to, and like, you know, is not perfect, but you know, they're a human. So I don't know. So
it kind of undercuts itself though, like, and it knows it does, but like that having that part where it's like, oh, you're showing the mourning of him being murdered, and then he's like, wait, why are you doing this shit? Get over it. Life's a party. Dig it or whatever.
Dig it.
I think that was supposed to be more in the true vein of the actual Euronymous.
Well, that's the thing is like I think that like in writing that what they were doing was just like, okay, but this isn't how this guy who got murdered would want his last scenes to go. He wouldn't want his death to be a sad event, a mournful event. He would want it to be celebrated in the fashion that he talked about all the time, even if he was a quote unquote poser and all that shit. Like, you know,
fucking posers.
I understand that, but like just strictly as a movie going experience, to Juice's point, like it's a little bit like it undercuts the emotional weight of the movie a little bit to me. I'm just really interested more with this movie about like the different, like any scene has like these different people coming from different backgrounds to sort of like different, you know, what, like you've got Dead who's struggling with depression, you've got a kid who's struggling with psychosis, and you've got a kid who just wants to make his way in the world and find an identity. Like I think like looking at this particular like version of that is really fucking fascinating. It's the most fascinating thing about the movie to me, even more so than like the murder aspect and all that shit.
Yeah.
Like, that's almost like set dressing to a certain point to me, because it's more like to me about like the group think and the way, you know, the internal logic of a group can fester into something horrible, especially when it's centered around something
create kind of a mob mentality.
Yeah, exactly. And like you said, it's a dick measuring contest. That's true of so many scenes. I like punk music, and that's another scene with a lot of gatekeeping, a lot of like true punks with 3 X's at the end and all that shit. Like, there's a lot of that. Not as much as it used to be, it seems like, but maybe it's because I'm not hanging out with teenagers anymore.
Why not hang out with those teens?
But the difference is that like the punk scene isn't centered around murder and death and being evil to people. It's, if anything, got a core where it's like the world should be better. It's not up to the standard that I see fit. So fuck it, I'm gonna act like an asshole.
We gotta kind of start landing this plane.
I'm sorry. It's really interesting.
Yeah, it is. Is there anything specific you guys want to talk about before we rate this thing?
There was one thing, just to touch on what Randy said, because it's personal, and I think we all like can relate, at least like me, Randy, and Bob. In high school, I guess. Well, I don't know, maybe. So maybe you could touch on this, but in our, like when we were in high school, like there was like this scene, and it was like the straight edge kids or whatever, and their whole thing is like they don't drink, they don't smoke, they don't have sex, but we would always joke like, but those sons of bitches would have no fucking problem going to like a fucking show with brass knuckles and shit, beating the shit out of each other, like violence and just like and they're like, oh, straight edge, like no say. It's like maybe you should just have a beer and fuck somebody instead of like beating somebody's ass. It's like,
all about proving things to yourself. It gets
so ridiculous to like, oh, you're not gonna have sex with somebody, but you're going to like murder them or just like harm them terribly. It's just like so like youthful bullshit. Anyways, that was.
There's a lot of stories we could tell about the music scene.
Get off my lawn.
Talk about the photo you guys took for the local freebie rag, but we won't go there.
Yeah, that's for a different show right there. All right, let's go ahead and rate this thing. Justin, out of 5, why don't you kick us off? How you feel about Lord's Chaos?
Yeah, I really enjoyed this movie. It was refreshing. It was a nice palate cleanser after the old Hellboy episode.
Yeah, yeah.
I really enjoyed this. I thought it was a movie that was done well. One thing that we didn't really touch on was like the soundtrack. For a movie that was about black metal, true black Norwegian metal, and people killing each other. I loved, and I think the Cigaros was like included in that. Was it them?
I think it was Mum.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Very similar.
Okay.
Yeah.
Some beautiful Icelandic music, ambient Icelandic music was included in there. So I like those like touches because it followed the whole thing of like, well, yeah, we do want to tell a story, but we're also like making an interesting, like relatable kind of film about humanity and youth and stuff like that. So I really enjoyed that. Honestly, I enjoy this movie a lot. That I watched it one night and then I started watching it again the second night. I didn't get all the way through, but I got like maybe halfway through again. And I really enjoyed seeing those opening scenes again with like seeing Dead and like actually like kind of looking closer. One thing I missed or that I picked up on the second viewing was they have that party really early on where they first paint their face, Dead and Euronymous paint their face, and Euronymous goes to get a bunch of beers, and a dude bumps into him and makes him drop a beer, and it's fucking Varg or whatever. I like because I didn't know.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I didn't know until the second time. I was like, oh shit! Like I love how they include these little things. I thought they're great in their subtlety. I thought this was really crafted well, and it's like I feel like this movie achieved what it wanted to achieve, and it did it very tastefully and very entertaining. It was very entertaining to me as a viewer and very relatable to me as a human being. So I'm going to give it a 5-star. It's the best film I've seen this year. It's the best film I've seen this year for sure.
I did not anticipate that at all.
Really?
Yeah. Cool. All right. Randy, how you feel out of 5?
I mean, not that good.
Not that good.
Like we kind of waxed this movie's car, as this is apparently the nomenclature for today. But there are things about it that there's something about it, and I like this is what I'm struggling with. Is I wouldn't say that I outright love this movie, like front to back. It's not a 5-star for me. There's something about it that's not really resonating fully with me, and I'm not really sure what it is. I'm struggling to sort of like pinpoint it. There are certainly the things like the filmmaking choices that Anthony brought up, which I do agree with. Some of those like weird flashes to crows and shit was a little bit superfluous. If maybe it's in keeping with the black metal aesthetic, but I don't know exactly. So to me, that wasn't really working. I also think that like some of the performances, mostly like side characters, so it's tough to hold it to the standard, but some of the side characters were like a little bit like empty, a little bit shell. Like the Faust character, I don't feel like was like they didn't flesh him out really, which wasn't really didn't necessarily need to either, but it kind of felt a little bit so when he got arrested or when he murdered the guy, I was like, who is this? Like I don't know, there's some things like that I wasn't super into. But there's something else about it that kind of drags it down a little bit for me. But I say a little bit because it is a little bit. This movie overall, like the thing that interests me about the movie is the stuff that I've already mentioned, like the power dynamics, the insulation of the groupthink, and the mob mentality. And just like what it means to sort of like play act in a fantasy world until the fantasy becomes your reality and you start doing things that don't make any fucking sense in the real world. Like that's what's interesting to me, and that's the core of the movie in my like from what I can tell. So for those reasons, I think I'm going to give it a 4. I think it sits at a 4 for me. There's just a couple things about it that I can label as being a little bit deficient, and then there's some other intangible quality that I'm still struggling with. I just watched it today, so I guess maybe I need to let it sit for a minute.
Alrighty. Anthony, how are you feeling out of 5 about Lords of Chaos?
I mean, Justin and Randy Andy, both of you guys said pretty much everything that I could say, if not better. And I feel like I've spilled my thoughts enough on this. I was definitely excited for this film. I'll say I wasn't let down for sure. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was definitely a good experience to have. As odd as that may sound, I'm glad that this story was represented on screen. But yeah, those small things for me are that frustrated me a bit with just like the weird dramatized, Jacob's Ladder shit and like the weird voiceover that put a weird taste in my mouth. But other than that, I really enjoyed the film. So I'm probably sitting at like a 3.75, I guess.
3.75. 3 3/4. All right. Quick math. Quick math.
Oh man.
I can start doing this if you want, Bob.
Yeah, maybe. Okay. So yeah, this is I've seen this movie twice so far, and I think I enjoyed it just as much the second time around as I did the first time, which was quite a bit. I found just the story in general is super intriguing as someone who didn't really know much about black metal and admittedly still doesn't know much about black metal. And the characters presented are interesting. And even though this movie is obviously like heavily fictionalized, I'm totally okay with that because I think it is to the benefit of the movie. And I love that it's got so much comedy in it. Is like, you're dealing with such like very, very dark, heavy subject matter, and like real people were murdered and real churches were burned and stuff. So all that stuff really did happen. But the characters within the story have been altered. But like, I love that right when the movie starts, Euronymous' like little sister's giving him shit about playing like metal. And like you see pictures of him and his family on the wall, and they're like on ski vacations. And then after their first show, they go into that shop and they're getting food and they're wearing the full corpse paint. And Euronymous is like waxing poetically about how they play true Norwegian black metal. And then the dude's like, order up. And then he like goes and gets his fucking food. Just like little touches like that crack me up. And especially the interview scene is fucking hilarious where the guy can't pronounce his name. It's all, and even like on the way to murder Euronymous, like his henchman or whatever, like
Forgot about that.
is totally like giving Varg away. Like he's hiding in the back of the car, and he doesn't Faust or whoever's driving him doesn't have any cash. He's like, "Can you borrow your card?" And he's like pointing to Varg in the back of the car so that he knows like, "Oh, I know he's right there. That's it. That guy owns this card." Just stupid shit like that was cracking me up throughout the movie, even in like, the darkest moments.
Yeah, the Die Hard 2.
Yeah,
that was awesome.
Die Hard shit like, and also like when it gets brutal, it's like all in on the brutality. It really doesn't pull any punches, and like that freaking suicide scene is like one of the most brutal suicides like I've ever seen on film.
Yeah,
like
that was hard to watch.
Really difficult to watch.
I looked at the picture.
Oh yeah,
it's an album art. It was their album art cover. It like legit was.
So yeah, with that, actually, just a short little thing. I think it was adopted by fans who like made like a fan made EP of Mayhem who used that image.
I know that whatever Corpse Banger or whatever the bassist name is, Necro Butcher. That's what it was.
I
read
Necro Butcher.
I know what you're talking about. I thought you were talking about
there's
Creep.
there's a modern interview with him in LA Times Weekly or something, Early Weekly, something like that, where he's talking about like, or maybe it was something, I don't know. I read somewhere that he's like, yeah, if somebody walks up to me with that on their T-shirt, I'll probably punch him in the face. It's like, that was my friend, you assholes. He's really pissed.
Sorry,
That's pretty
Bob.
fucked up. It's
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, I don't know. I have been trying to think of something that I didn't really enjoy or something negative to say about this. And I thought throughout having a conversation with you guys, something would be brought to my attention. And so far, even with like the little things that you guys didn't enjoy, they really don't bother me. So I can't really think of a single thing that I can really point to and say I didn't like in this movie. Even after watching it twice, I still want to watch it again. So I'm gonna have to give it a 5 stars.
Whoa, hang on, whoa. Satan Stains and Goth Bob finally come together.
Hail DJ Elzebub.
We are in alignment.
Wow, in rare form.
Yeah.
Wow.
After last week,
you guys got to share it on me to celebrate.
So that's going to put the aggregate at a 4.44. So let's go ahead and get into the Rotten Tomatoes segment and see what the critics and users have to say about Lords of Chaos. Take it away.
All right, let's get into it. So, Rotten Tomatoes, we're going to start with the critics. Reviews counted from the critics, only 56. So it is, even though it's a newer movie, it's not getting the attention that like a theatrical release would. So smaller sample size, unfortunately, but let's see what the critics have to think about this. Let's go around the table. I'm going to let our guests go first. Anthony, what do you think the critics rated Lords of Chaos?
Fuck.
Surprise!
Is 666 an answer?
Is fuck an answer? Man, I really don't know. I really don't know how people are gonna rate this. I'm gonna go with the straight chillin' spesh. Can I do that?
Oh yeah. Yes, love to pick the spesh.
All right, I'm gonna go with that then.
All right, the old 69. I appreciate it. Thank you, Anthony.
Number.
Let's go with a Randy. Randy, what do you think?
I'm actually going to abstain because I saw the answer to this. I saw the critics already by accident,
but not the audience.
Not the audience. I can do the audience.
Thanks for being a straight shooter guy. Thanks for not being a cheater blumpkin eater.
No, I would never.
Rob, what do you think the 56 critics rated this?
Don't eat my blumpkin. I'm gonna go higher than the 69. I'll go 79.
79. Okay.
Get crazy.
So 56 reviews counted. Both of you are very close. The straight chillin' special is going to win the day, of course. The old 69. It is very close. The overall critic score is 71%. So not certified fresh, but it is fresh. Of the 56, 40 are fresh. 16 are rotten. The critic consensus is Lords of Chaos presents a grimly compelling dramatization of a real-life music scene whose aggressively nihilistic aesthetic spilled over into fatal acts of violence.
I mean, that's more of a summary than anything.
Yeah.
This movie was certainly a moving picture.
The one of the top critics says the violence was for me almost unwatchable, but it's a well-made and plausible film, worryingly plausible film. Sorry, it was like spaced out.
Well, the shit did happen.
Was that a negative or a positive review?
No, it's a fresh.
Okay.
And pretty much everything I'm seeing, like from the critics, like positive or negative, touches on like the violence and the gore and stuff like that.
Just the whole movie.
Yeah, it's really interesting because it was brutal. And I guess I would say like the suicide to me was the most brutal.
Not the fucking getting stabbed in the fucking head.
Oh, you don't see the blade go in like you do with.
You don't? Okay. Yeah.
By the way, Do you guys know what the fucking suicide note says? Do you remember what it says?
What was it
It
like?
said,
Sorry
"Excuse
for
the blood, let
Yeah.
the party begin," or
Party.
something like that.
Yeah. What the fuck?
Yeah. And as he's like bleeding to death, struggling to get the gun, like
I
the
was
fact
watching-
that he was able to like cut himself and then cut himself in the throat and then write a suicide note and then go shoot himself in the head, like
Dude
what
had
the
some-
fuck?
Dude had
It's
some
crazy.
good going. We gotta give him
Was
that.
dedicated.
And that was part of the real story. That's crazy.
Dead.
Yeah.
Dedicated.
So,
Um,
all right, let's hop into the audience score. Another small sample size. Oozer rating 429. Let's reverse and start with Bob. Bob, what do you think the audience rated this one?
The Oozas. I'm gonna go with an 80.
An 80. All right, think people are digging this, huh? Like your boy,
Yep.
Satan
Yep.
Stains. All right. Randy, you're gonna be stuck in the middle again. Oh, you didn't even go last time. Go ahead. Randy, do you know the audience score?
There, are we back?
Yep.
Oh yeah,
audience score.
Randy,
All right,
audience score.
Let's do. I feel like if the metal community didn't like this, they were probably some of the first, the biggest group to see it.
Yeah.
So maybe like a 65. I don't know. That's a guess. They're all guesses, I guess.
I like your detective work, Randy. All right, and Anthony.
It's always failed me. So
I'll just go with like a 73. How about that? 73.
All right, 80, 73, and 65. Randy, you finally got it. I always feel bad for Randy.
don't we all?
That's such good detective work and always comes up short.
like shitty Mannix.
Okay, 429, small sample size, but the overall rating from the Oozas is 59%. So, still, well, I guess it's like on the cusp of positive in Rotten Tomatoes world, but still good enough for me.
It's interesting.
So, yeah.
We're usually men of the people. That appears not to be the case this time.
Well, we're a scotch higher than the people. Some of us fell closer than others. Randy's kind of a man of the people here. And Anthony certainly, but yeah.
Well,
me
I mean,
and
like
Bob
with
are-
our combined.
Oh yeah,
score.
overall, yeah, we're a little high on
Your
this
two
one.
fives
Wow.
really fucked the man of the people stance on this one.
Yeah.
Fuck the pooch.
Yep. All right. Well, so that's our Rotten Tomatoes segment, boys. You know what time it is. Do you know what time it is?
I
Is it-
do,
Why
but
don't you
think
tell-
think
I know,
it's a
but
different
you
time.
I know
Oh.
what it is, but
It's
you
time
should
for
tell everyone
trivia.
else what time.
Oh no, it's we doing trivia. Okay, I was gonna hunt some cooters, but whatever. You want to do.
Totally time for trivia. Randy,
All right.
you got any trivia?
I got a little bit of trivia. So first of all, the obvious thing, and any one of us, I'm sure, noticed this. There were a couple of films featured in this film on the television, which
Yeah,
were
Dead Alive.
Brain Dead / Dead Alive and Evil Dead, all movies with the word dead in them, and all extremely grotesquely bloody. So very on brand.
Wasn't Halloween in this too, or no?
There's a poster.
Oh,
there's a
poster,
Nightmare on
that's
Elm
what it
Street
was.
Poster, and
Yeah,
Dead
that's what it
poster.
was.
Lots of posters.
You guys got those, so I'm going to skip that. So Varg Vikernes, I'm probably pronouncing that horribly, as Rob pointed out to us via chat, has a YouTube channel currently after his 15-year prison sentence, and says some wild-ass shit, as you might expect, even as a dad and a
Shit is
beautiful
crazy.
garden for the most part, talking to his kid.
Yeah, I was reading about that dude, and it was like moved to France with his wife and child. I was like, what the fuck?
But
got out of prison. It's like,
anyway, so that was kind of interesting. And then also one of the things apparently he said, I don't know if it was in those videos or not, but he apparently claims that he was portrayed as a quote power-hungry lunatic in this movie, and that it is a deliberate misrepresentation based in part on the cultural misunderstanding of his passion for role-playing games in the 90s, taking on fantastical personal titles and playing war games with fictional factions on world atlases has become a normal part of culture now, but was noted as a suspicious form of power fantasy by police investigators in the 1990s, which sounds to me like I'm pretty sure Varg wrote that himself.
What a
what a
nerd.
weird defense.
So-
even. You don't understand me because I play role
Sure,
playing. like,
Yeah, like
you
Satanic
murdered
Panic
him.
was a thing, but you definitely murdered the guy. That
So-
power fantasy became a power reality.
Can I add to the trivia to this?
Yes,
So
please.
Uh-huh.
we have more than I.
I picked this up from a last podcast, and apparently Varg actually made his own like RPG, like D&D style game, but like, and it's it's based around like all the old school like Nordic gods and stuff like that. But supposedly it's like all grinding, like. You don't really like to go on the adventure and do all the fun stuff. You have to like, raise your sheep and feed them and like, all the boring shit that you don't want to do in D&D.
Damn,
Oh, yeah.
Of course it is.
Well, you got to have some realism in your Odin game.
I
Yeah.
watched a few of his YouTube videos today. I couldn't stomach much more than a couple, honestly. But he's got like several little clips that are like, my thoughts on Lords of Chaos or whatever. And the first one that I watched is like right out the gate. He's like, I'm very upset that they got a fat Jewish actor to portray me in this film. Like he's wildly anti-Semitic, and
He's very not into the Notre Dame fire. I'll tell you that much. She's like,
yeah,
who cares? Like,
he's
just-
not the greatest dude. I've never clicked on a YouTube video that started with a warning. Like,
oh
put there
yeah, it's
by
like this is
YouTube.
not appropriate for anyone. Please
Yeah.
go away.
For anyone.
Yeah,
Then a few
So-
PragerU ads, and then it was there.
that guy's a fucking lunatic. Continue.
Yeah, and I really that's the long and short of it. I did want to comment on the fact that it's very bizarre that this is the week we chose to do this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's like
The church burned down.
unfortunate.
strange
Yeah.
timing.
Dude, 2 weeks ago I was up in that bit.
I know, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Wild.
It's probably your
Uh,
fault. Satan
maybe.
was all
Whoa.
up
Did
in Notre
you
Dame.
Did you,
You know
leave
what's
kerosene
crazy?
stains there, juice stains?
You know what's crazy? What's fucking stupid and shows what kind of an old man I am. But we were there, and they had the scaffolding up because there were workers there working on like the steeple thing or whatever. And after we had done our tour and we were down like in the gardens, like behind it, I looked up and I was like, can you imagine what the insurance policy is on the contractor who's working on this thing? And fucking 2 weeks later, that shit burnt. And my wife was like, you're such a man. And like 2 weeks later, that shit burns down. And I was like, those poor damn contractors. Like, holy shit.
Somebody might have been buried alive in the crypts.
Like,
for all we
oh,
know.
fuck.
Um,
Anyways, so that
yeah.
happened.
So that's a little aside there about recent. happenings.
One thing I wanted to note, because it also deals with one of my favorite characters. This is a part of trivia that I was reading. One of my favorites was fucking Hellhammer. He was the drummer, and he was always the dude that was like down with everything, but also like never did anything himself. He was always like, hey, let's go record music, or like, hey, let's go do that. And his name was like Hellhammer, and he had the old school Rob stash and everything. Like,
God.
yeah.
That I thought that was funny too, because he's just like it almost smacks of like I that's one of the reasons I thought this was written by somebody that had been in the band, because it's like, oh yeah, these guys are editing they're downplaying their deeds as much as possible.
Yeah. But anyways, they released the Mayhem album, I guess, after Euronymous had been killed and then Varg was in jail or whatever, and the family asked them to like take out Varg's bass parts or whatever since he had murdered him, and he was like, and Hellhammer was like, yeah, I'm totally gonna re-record the bass parts, and he was like, I didn't. He was like, I thought it was very appropriate for this black metal album to have the murderer and the victim on the same album. So it's that dude's guitar parts and that dude's bass parts. I listened to a couple songs. They're fucking long as shit. Like all black metal songs are apparently like no shorter than like fucking 7 minutes long. And that shit is like almost unlistenable to me personally.
Hey,
so
you guys
this
remember
is my
that-
personal.
You guys remember that band we watched where they had a person dressed as a turd dancing around?
Yes.
No.
There was a guy dressed as a giant poo-poo that was dancing around on stage while they were playing. It was great.
What was that?
That was when we were in fucking high school.
Oh.
When else would that be appropriate?
Was that a what, Emotron? You talking about Emotron?
No, Emotron
No.
just lied on the ground and spat
I
everywhere.
don't remember the
I
I don't
dude.
remember who
Yeah.
it was, but I remember the poop costume.
I don't remember who it was. It
Hard
was
to
a local
forget.
band. It was like a poorly put together doo-doo. outfit. And
It wasn't
dancing
wasn't-
around like one of those inflatable tube men.
It wasn't Queefuffer, was it?
I don't know. It could have been Queen.
The
All right,
local
moving
grind-
on with trivia. From 1983 to 84, director Jonas Åkerlund, Rob, you covered this kind of, was a rehearsal drummer for the Swedish metal band Bathory, one of the inspirations for Norwegian black metal bands of the 90s, which are focused in this movie. He stated in a 2018 interview that when black metal culture developed in the 90s and became, quote, too serious, he left the music scene and moved on to filmmaking. I mean, good choice, man. And also good job on this movie. I kind of gave him shit earlier, or it sounded like I did. I want to make sure I say, like, his camera, he did pretty good in this fucking movie.
Yeah, I thought
Like,
so.
I want to give him some praise. Let's see. When the band Mayhem is shown rehearsing with Varg, the new lead singer is played by Arian. Oh man, I'm gonna fuck this up. Ksihar, who is Mayhem's real life lead singer Attila Kisar's son. So is the son of the actual life singer. So that's kind of interesting. At least they got the blessing of that family, I guess. Varg has claimed to never have.
But
Alrighty.
Yeah.
Do it again.
Never. Oh no.
Wait, Varg has
Okay,
never
here we
claimed
go.
what? What has Varg never claimed to do?
He's never. He has never had a vest with band patches, never liked the Scorpions, never drank chocolate milk at any point from 1991 to 1994, never punched a guy at the bar, never joked about putting all of the death metal bands in gas chambers, never has, quote, degenerate sex, and was never vegan. But it is true that he was a non-drinker. Again, Varg is definitely the most active user on IMDb, as far as I can tell. Just get fucking.
Oh my
And
god!
then-
I love that he's just writing his own trivia.
I mean, you gotta.
Set
It's not
that
him.
record
It's
straight.
like some. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Varg, aka Griff Grishna, aka the Count.
Yep.
AKA Christian.
I love that whole scene where he comes into like the record shop for the whole time and he's like, I don't drink, and just I don't know. That was a fun scene. Fucking posers.
Posers. God, I hate that fucking word. Has any word ever been more useless in the world than the word poser? Just shut the fuck up and let people listen to music, you dicks.
Fucking posers.
The character of Anne Marie, or Anne Merritt, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, played by Sky Ferreira, was invented for the movie, and Euronymous did not have a girlfriend during the time of the events narrated in the movie. Shocking. That's,
What?
yeah. Can
Also,
you believe
the
it?
scene where like bitches are just lining up to fuck this dude, I was like, this is fiction.
Yeah.
This is not right.
Well, apparently, Varg says it's
Agrees.
fiction as well. doesn't
He
have
didn't have
degenerate
to. I didn't
sex.
need to read.
He
I
only
didn't need
has
to read
short
trivia.
flight,
to know that.
Norwedic sex. Norwedic. Yeah, that's a word.
That, that was clear to me from the get go.
Anyway, so yes, that's the end of trivia for me. If anybody has any further, please. But I think we covered it.
Yeah,
Cool.
Let's go hunting.
Now we can go hunt.
Wascally Cooters.
So there's a lot of cooters in this.
There's a
movie, I
lot,
think.
like almost like anybody is a cooter in this film.
Yeah.
Dumb.
I'm excited though. I'm excited
Oh.
because you got Anthony. You want?
I thought of like one straggling trivia tip.
Hit us real quick.
So there's a documentary about the black metal scene, and it's called Until the Light Takes Us. It's for free on YouTube if anyone wants to watch it. I think it's on Shudder as well. And they interview Varg, and they talk about a part of like the black metal movement was rejecting like Western ideals. And so one of the first times that a McDonald's opened up in Norway, Varg and some of his friends went there with like guns, I think, and fucking like shot up the McDonald's.
God damn.
And
Let
like
people out there, McD's.
so fucking dumb. Anyway, I just thought
damn.
that was hilarious.
Fucking 15 years was not enough.
Varg was not, in fact, loving it.
Damn Norway.
Man, he'll get his McFlurry elsewhere, thank you.
Or wait,
True
I can't remember. Norway or
Norwegian ice
Sweden? Norwegian,
cream.
yes, okay.
They discontinued McRib again.
So I was really excited when I watched this film because we got some strong cooter candidates, and like maybe some of the strongest since our boy throwback.
Sand?
From Mandy.
Yeah.
Jeremiah
shit.
Sand?
Jeremiah. And because it's hard to hit all of the points, like it's hard, but this one lends itself to the attire, which sometimes is one of the hardest ones to hit. So I was very excited because I was like, fuck yeah, we got some strong attire on this one. So overall, I mean, like they got this Black Circle clan of like half Nazis, half pagans, half just bullshit, whatever. I think, but I mean,
to make Tom mad.
The way this movie like lays everything out, though, I mean, I gotta go with my boy Varg for sure.
Yeah, I doubled down
number
on that
one.
Varg.
Yeah,
he's definitely got the attire with his fucking hair and his like cloaks and his swords and come on.
and not only that, there was one of my like I love the little details that this thing does because it didn't harp on it, but when he first goes to the vinyl shop for the first time, but he's packing up all his shit at his like white house or whatever that's like super nice. He packs these like shoulder pads, and it like shows them, but it like doesn't like linger or anything, but it shows them. And later when he's just like chilling and kind of pouting or whatever in the cellar or wherever they go and hang out in the basement, he's just wearing these ridiculous like black metal like studded shoulder pads, and it just is like cracking me up because there's like he specifically packs them to go there
from his
like,
Judge Dredd cosplay.
I love it, but yeah, on top of like the cloak and the fucking swords and all.
He's also wildly self-important and sexually manipulative.
Yeah, he's just like, and he says he's like, "Get out of here, whore," and then he's like, "Take your clothes off, whore."
He's like, yeah.
he gets all the.
He's not successfully manipulative that much.
I would give that to Euronymous.
For sure, Euronymous hits
is
higher. But he does like manipulate like his friend, like drive me to like murder this person and that guy.
But
like so
really
he's
like
he
just
a little
has clout. That's almost more like just social status than anything. But yeah. But I mean,
like,
that's probably the worst.
To do terrible things, like he like encourages other people, like go
he
murder this man.
The women, of course, but I think that also falls under sexual sexual deviancy. But Euronymous, I think like that's his most cooterific trait is
for sure, yeah,
cooterific,
yeah.
But yeah, Varg, I was excited because behind old Jeremiah, Varg like hit pretty strong on all points, like the smug arrogance, manipulation, sexual deviancy, attire.
Interesting too.
Yeah, to see the cooter develop.
Into his cooterness.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's a fucking Nazi. And and the chocolate milk. I love the chocolate milk scene. I fucking loved it. It was so McPoyle. He's
never had chocolate milk in his life.
From 91 to 94, I never drink chocolate milk.
write down every drink I drink in a journal, and it's not in there, and you can't prove it is.
But 95. Ooh.
Yeah, wild on that.
That was the year of the Choco milk, buddy. Just chocolate.
All up in that Gustafson's.
As soon as he got out of prison, it was he let loose.
When people say they're a chocoholic, they're just posers. This guy's a real fucking chocoholic. He's addicted to chocohol.
Rob, in our Slack channel, you gotta name the main tag "fucking posers."
Fucking posers.
Are you a real straight chilling crew? Are you hard with us?
Are you just hard with us?
Do you've got a hard on for us?
Oh, if you're not hard with us, then you ain't with us, baby.
You just some fucking posers.
You fucking limp dick.
Are you hard
motherfucker?
If you were really hard with us, you jerk off on camera for us.
Phrasing.
Go to youtube.com/straight chilling to see Andy.
Just wieners. Just all wieners.
Sponsored by Squarespace.
So, sounds like Varg is probably the winner. Let's go ahead. There's some interesting news this week. Let's jump into some news real quick. All right, nerds. So we finally got the Child's Play trailer. So we got to hear Mark Hamill's voice. We got to see like flashes of what Chucky looks like. We didn't really get a great look at him. We got to see some Aubrey Plaza and kind of get like the general sense of what's really going on with the plot here. It seems as though this like techno Chucky can tap into any sort of a smart device whatsoever and just control it and use it to murder people with.
Like using like drones and shit.
Yeah, like kind of anything that is on hand. I don't know.
He can set the mood lighting however he wants.
Well, he
Red.
murders you. He's gonna make sure you're hard with him, and then he's gonna murder you.
Are you hard with me, fucking poser?
What do you?
I'll
How
bet-
you guys?
I'll bet you money there's something about a Fitbit in this fucking movie. It's like,
Well,
he's tracking me by
probably.
my Fitbit.
My heart rate.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about this Child's Play?
I will say that I have goosebumps.
Oh shit.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Really?
I'm really not a big Child's Play fan. And you can crucify me later for that. But
Fuck you, poser.
And not this
fucking
podcast.
poser. But and so like I'm interested to just see where this goes. Like I respect the franchise for what it is and Don Mancini, but I'm interested to see like the creative direction this takes. Plus the fucking cast is stellar. I mean Aubrey Plaza, Brian Tyree Henry, that one fucking kid, you know, great cast.
That one, yeah. That one fucking kid is great.
Oh,
I don't know what
yeah.
else he's in. What
yeah,
else
Mark
is he in?
Hamill, like fuck yeah, dude.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
So, correct me if I'm wrong. I watched this trailer and I
You're wrong.
heard Mark do his thing, and I gotta think that Brad Dourif just refused to be in this movie because he's basically doing a Brad Dourif impression. It sounds
Yeah,
like to me.
That's what everyone's saying, I think.
Okay, so that's kind of a bummer.
Nah.
I don't know. I didn't particularly like most of the Child's Play movies, with the exception of the first couple, maybe even the third a little bit. But yeah, it just really hasn't been for me. But I also don't hold it so I don't hold it precious. Like it's not something that I feel like couldn't be remade. But to make it like the techno thing, I think that there's a better movie for that kind of technology outside of the Child Play franchise. I just don't know that this is the outlet for that to happen in. And I certainly don't think it's doing any favors that it's going to be recasting a fan favorite. You know, for all of its faults, one of the things I always liked about Child's Play is Brad Dourif's performances. I like hearing him do his thing.
Yeah.
And I like Mark Hamill plenty, just like most people, I think, are pretty on board with Mark Hamill, but in general. But like, if he's just going to do a Brad Dourif impression, I just kind of wish it was Brad Dourif, just minus Jennifer Tilly, please. That's kind of where I'm at with it.
Yeah,
Silly.
I get that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that, like somebody said it on our Slack, that I feel like this Child's Play isn't really the best place to explore that. But I do think that if it's a swerve where Brad Dourif's Chucky shows up later on, he's like, "Oh, they made the line again, and I got in there and fucked with the microchips, and now you're all gonna die because I
that
got
would
an
be
army
kinda
of
cool.
Chuckies." That would be amazing, I think. But
yeah.
I just don't see
Yeah,
it happening based on what I'm hearing about his reaction to this movie.
Because I'm not a real big Child's Play guy either, but one of the things that like seems to like stand with the movies and that people seem to really enjoy about them is like the campiness of it,
Yeah.
you know? And this as a modern remake, like the doll is not like menacing, and like the idea of a doll, so to lose that like campiness, or you know, to try to make it like this modern kind of remake, but just adding in the technology, it's not doing it for me. Like I don't see, like when we were talking about Pet Sematary, I was like, you know what, this is the one where I could see like could use a good remake, you know, with the kid and redoing the kid and stuff like that. But like to just have a different kind of doll, like in this day and age, it's like, if you're not going to make it campy, it just seems weird to have like a doll's not menacing. So even if it's holding a knife, like it's like, I just like kick that shit across the room, like, or like, you know, like
It's
it's
well
like
tried.
it stands like a foot tall. It's just, I don't
Yeah.
know. It's just not scary.
I don't know. Maybe it will be campy in just a different way, but it looks like from the trailer they're at least showing it off as something more something more modern and serious than the previous entries were.
Yeah.
Well, the first one is pretty straight, man.
It is, but it also
the
was like
sequels start to get kind of campy, and
It
that's actually kind of one of the reasons I liked the first one so much, is because they did play it straight, but it was convincing. It did feel
Right.
scary to me, at least. I don't.
Well, it was convincing, and also it was not. It was made in a time where Child's Play, the franchise, didn't exist already. They had maybe Trilogy of Terror, where it was shown mostly off screen, or they had Dolls, where it was all sort of implied, or Puppet Master, where it was pretty shaky. But like Child's Play was the one that sort of perfected that dolls trying to kill you thing, like the look of it. And so I think it gets a lot of bonus points for that. Whereas at this point, we've seen sort of like the perfect version of that formula, in my opinion, or pretty close to it. So it'd be hard for them to backtrack and do it again. And I don't think the technology aspect is what's going to do it. I actually also really like the voodoo aspect, as stupid and cliche as it was, and not like in the original few. But what?
Voodoo.
I could see
Here we
like
go.
Rob about to sing.
Rob just trying to force in that Godsmack.
You gotta do it. Yeah, so we'll see what's going on with this new Child's Play. I'm cautiously optimistic, I think, is the way I would put it.
Retweet.
Thanks, Doug. So we talked about Fred Durst making a movie on the show
A long time ago.
Yeah, it was previously titled Moose. Since then, the title has been changed to The Fanatic. So the story is inspired by apparently a real life fan that pursued Fred Durst many years ago. And it's about basically an insane fandom that turns into like a stalker situation. So it's starring John Travolta, who seems to be the crazed fan. And Devon Sawa plays like an action movie hero. John Travolta's totally gaga over Mr. Sawa. So it's this movie's going to Amazon sometime this year. They haven't released a date yet, but Amazon picked it up, and there is not a trailer yet. There's like one still you can see, and it's obviously an image of Fred Durst directing John Travolta, and Fred Durst is wearing like a camouflage like fishing hat and like a camo jacket and camo gloves, and he's got like a black
guerrilla filmmaking.
It looks insane. He looks like a crazy man.
Yeah, I can see him going insane.
Yeah, I don't know. Keep rolling. I don't know.
He's got that smug self-importance for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, gracious. I'm curious as hell about this. I am. I don't know if it's going to be any good.
I have like
dog shit.
It's got to be fucking great to overcome my poisoned opinion of Fred Durst. I really just don't care for that motherfucker. Like, I have always disliked his music. I've always disliked his general demeanor and attitude towards everything.
I don't like your jerk off name. I don't like your jerk off face. And I don't like you, jerk off.
Fucking poser.
He's
what the fuck, man? I fucking hate the Eagles.
No, that's kind of where I'm at with Fred. So I mean, maybe he'll prove me wrong. Maybe, fucking what's his name? What's Travolta. Maybe Travolta will put in a performance that'll save his ass, but I kind of doubt it. His outfit in that looks fucking wild.
Like, Travolta's weird now, dude. He was in that one show I had mentioned a long time ago, that OJ show where he plays like OJ's lawyer or whatever, and his plastic surgery and like his face. Yeah, he was in that like Italian movie. What's it called? Like where he's like, and oh my god. So I don't think that
questionable decisions in his career. I have no reason to think this isn't one of them.
Yeah, and he looks fucking weird now. I don't know what's up with his face and shit, but I don't know, man.
Grain of salt from Randy. I already dislike this whole thing just on a gut level.
Sawa was weird. I didn't know about Sawa. That was weird.
Right with me. So Sawa is just all right.
This is like a true blend of like the early 2000s right here. I mean,
very
Durst and Sawa. Damn.
Yeah, we haven't seen Sawa.
Travolta?
I haven't recently.
Yeah. So the last bit of news I wanted to talk about here, we got another trailer for the next installment in Hulu's Into the Dark series. So this one is titled All That We Destroy, and it's going to be released on May 3rd. It's their Mother's Day segment.
Whoa, maniacal mothers.
Maniacal mothers, yeah. The synopsis is as follows. The episode follows a geneticist who fears that her son may be turning into a serial killer and creates a group of clones in an attempt to cure him of his psychopathic tendencies by allowing him to relive the murder of his first victim.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Anthony, you're pretty hard with this, right?
Yeah, I've got a straight hard on for this.
Are you hard with this?
Are you fucking posers? Yeah,
I don't think I'm quite hard yet. Just popping that QJ, you know.
I feel like I'm a pretty vocal supporter of the Into the Dark series, mainly because it's an opportunity for, smaller directors to get the chance to kind of maybe showcase their work. And, I'll admit, Into the Dark has been pretty spotty. But it has kind of showcased some pretty wicked stories, like fucking The Body was pretty solid. Puka, I enjoyed that. I enjoyed the latest one, I'm Just Fucking With You. Down was okay. Even like Flesh and Blood was all right. But yeah, with this, honestly it feels like a lot deeper. It feels like it's taking an opportunity to actually say something, or at least this creator, the director is. The first thing that comes to mind is like, destruction is a form of creation, and creation being synonymous with like motherhood and stuff like that. It also has the fucking kid from Happy Death Day. So I'm interested in this. I got my eyes on this. I'm always excited to kind of see what this anthology series is gonna throw out next.
I'm pretty excited about it too. I don't like. I've only seen a handful of Into the Dark's offerings so far. I also feel like it's a great thing to have, but I just haven't really seen it all yet. I wasn't crazy about Puka, and I'm halfway through, and I definitely didn't really like the I forget what it's called, but the one where the guy, where the McPoyle is in it.
Treehouse. Yeah, Treehouse was a
yeah.
hard watch. Yeah,
I did not enjoy that.
I did not have a hard on for that.
But then I'm about halfway through. I had to stop, but I'm halfway through with I'm Just Fucking With You, and I really like that the most so far. I really enjoy that.
That guy reminds me of like young Chevy Chase, the fucking antagonist in that, with his facial expressions and everything.
Chester.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm enjoying that quite a bit, but you're right. Like, this is a tonal shift, at least from the ones I've seen, where seems like it's taking itself a lot more seriously than the other ones I've seen on the whole. So I'm kind of excited about that, and the premise is really interesting. It's like we've got to talk about Kevin mixed with some like The Fly or some shit, or some like mad scientist movie. I'm kind of intrigued. I'm intrigued by the general premise.
Yeah, looks like Ex Machina light in a way.
Kind of, yeah. It is kind of like
that.
I was gonna say,
Bob.
There's also what's that? It's the one Black Mirror episode where the wife downloads her husband's AI.
Her dead husband.
Yeah. Kind of getting vibes from that too. But yeah, I'm interested to see where this goes. I also just to kind of like, what kind of fucking logic does that make though? Like, if you want to be 100% serious about it, we got to cure his like psychoses by letting him kill more. I'm like, I'm no scientist, I'm no doctor, but I don't think that's how that fucking works.
Yeah, that's very
that's
true.
Good.
But a mother's love is blind.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what they say.
Any whoosies.
Cool. So that's all we had for the news. Let's go ahead and jump into our last segment here. We do have a voicemail from a listener. So let's get into our voicemails from a place I like to call the further / hotline scream real quick. And
hotline scream.
There it is.
Yeah.
I know.
It's got a ring to it.
We're in a tough spot here, aren't we?
Yeah. But yeah, let's go ahead and hear what old Michael has to say. Here we go.
Ooh.
Thanks, Michael. Thanks for calling, man. It's always great to hear you. And check out old Michael's show, Horror Apocalypse, if you haven't already. It's great. So yeah, I don't know. I don't really think.
I don't think if you've seen Hellboy, you'd be as surprised as how much. I'll just start off by saying that. I think Bob's really thrown this weird outlier thing out there that's really confusing.
Okay, I gave it a 2.5. It's not.
I did
like
not
I gave
hear
it
any
a
of that,
4
by the
or
way. So can someone catch me up to
I
speed?
gave it a 50.
Yeah, so me and Bob are split on, Hellboy, but he appreciates that because it's, good discussion. But he was surprised at how much I hated it because I ended up giving it a 0.5, which is Mummy 2017 level or whatever. Bob gave it a 2.5, which seems very confusing, I think, to many people. I don't know.
It's just how I feel, man. It's just how I feel.
You were rocking them soju tear stains.
Did you see Hellboy, Anthony?
Oh no, I trust your review.
Thank you.
Damn, dog. You cut me deep on that.
Man, I have my own little things about it. Like, I love Guillermo del Toro, and it feels like, they promised more of a direct horror film with the new one. And what we got wasn't that, and it just felt like someone, just trying to kind of stylize their own thing after Del Toro's vision. And instead of creating more of a unique idea, and that leaves me with a bad taste. I don't like that.
I hear you.
I feel you.
Yeah. So as far as would you rather, Michael was asking if we had any sort of parameters or rules. I don't know, man. It's like
I pose
Don't
though. Would
get
you
us
rather?
arrested.
But I guess
it's
I don't
a
know.
free for all, free range.
We talk about some really fucked up shit on here, so I mean,
we could pose a would you rather, and then people could call and then answer that.
Would you rather have blueberry ice cream or pumpkin?
Whoa! What season we talking, Randy?
Definitely pumpkin. I mean, if I'm being honest. I don't know. What is we got one that's maybe topical here, like
I don't know which. Would you rather come? Well, this is pretty fucked up, actually.
Would you rather
do it, Randy?
Eat a rotten pig's head that's going to make you violently ill, or would you rather burn down a church?
Whoa! I was thinking.
I'm going to church every time.
Well, one of the things Dad tried to do was get his friends to bury him in a coffin before a show. So maybe would you rather be buried in a coffin for 24 hours or eat a rotten pig's head?
Wait, are you gonna live if you're buried in a coffin?
Yeah, you got enough air. They made that Ryan Gosling movie or Ryan.
Yeah,
Ryan
exactly. Ryan Reynolds did it.
Yeah.
What are the Ryans?
Yeah, what else did that dude do? He buried his clothes and then wore them. So would you rather wear clothes that have been buried?
Would you rather smell a bag with a dead bird in
it? There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Or would you rather eat a pig head?
Would you
pig
rather
head or dead bird huffing?
Would you rather take would you rather take a bite of a pig's head? I don't know how fresh it is. It's probably fresh, right? I don't know.
No,
it's got to be somewhat fresh.
In the book I was reading, it was rotten, and the people that ate it apparently got violently ill.
Third tier option,
or breathe in a dead crow's stench.
I think we got to land on one here. We got a lot of options.
Look, we got to give our people some options here. All right, so rotten dead pig eating or huffing on crows, dead crows.
All right.
Yep.
What's it gonna be? What's it gonna be? I think it's dead crow for me because that shit ain't going in my mouth.
Yeah, I don't want to get violently ill. I assume I can breathe in dead crow without doing that.
There's only one way to find out.
I guess.
Get that avian flu, bro.
Straight sniffing.
It's so good. Straight.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Are you
Just
hard with us?
Huffing that dead crow is what Daenerys been doing, huh?
what?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Jesus Christ.
so if you guys wanna join in, you can give us a call and leave us a voicemail here at 904-638-3231. Let us know which one you would rather, and then feel free to provide us with another ridiculous scenario.
Just try us, and if it's too much, we'll just gloss right over it.
Yeah,
We'll just
no,
play it, I guess.
there will be no glossing. Yeah. But yeah, that's gonna do it for us here at Straight Chilling. Anthony, thanks so much for joining us again, man. It's always a pleasure having you on the show. You're a delight. Once again, do you want to remind everybody where they can find you?
Yeah, sure. Thank you guys for having me on. It's always super fun. So yeah, if you want to watch some of our killer video essays, we just came out with one on Pet Cemetery and how it's the antithesis to the writing style of Stephen King. You can check that out at youtube.com/something ghoulish. You can find us on your podcast app. We talk to create genre. We talked to Tim Jacobus from Goosebumps, Patrick Bryce from Creep, Ashley Blackwell from Horror Noir. So we have a pretty solid library of episodes so far, so you can check that out. And then we're going to be hopping on Twitch soon, playing some horror video games.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Is it going to be Danielle's going to be playing? Are you going to be playing
Yeah.
together?
Yeah, Danielle's going to be handling the Twitch stream. I think we're going to try and get ready for Alien Day on April 26th, LV426, and play some Alien Isolation.
Nice. Yeah, I've heard that game's really awesome. It's on the list for sure.
So you can find us there at, I think it's twitch.tv/Ghoulish Arcade. So yeah, and of course on Twitter at Ghoulish Show. So that is all my self-promotion. Thank you guys for having me. It's fucking awesome hanging with you guys, and I'm glad I was actually able to talk to Justin this time around.
Yeah, man. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
First and last time. You're never coming back, man. Sorry to say it. Sorry.
We're gonna have
posers.
We're gonna have an episode without you, Rob.
Oh yeah, I know.
Hey.
Somebody's got to learn how to mix shit real quick.
This is an audition on replacing Rob. Rob didn't know.
Anthony, I have now realized that you were not hard with us, so you're booted off the island.
Oh god, fucking Euronymous over here, fucking taking
3
credit.
hards and a soft. You're outie.
Rip in peace.
Yeah, that's going to do it for us. We're going to be back next week with a new show. It's going to be our April poll pick winner, which is American Psycho. Until then, please rate, review, and subscribe to us on iTunes. You can follow us on Twitter at STR8_chilling. We're on Instagram at Straight Chilling Podcast. You can send us an email through our website, straightchillingpodcast.com. If you want to join us on our Slack channel, just let me know on any one of those social media platforms, and I'll send you a link so you can do that. We talk about the show of the week. We talk about other spooky gab. Don't forget, we're doing another Joe Bob Live Watch Party this Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so jump on that. That's Satan. Satan's playing me off the stage right now.
Hail Beelzebub!
Until next week, all you mother truckers, please keep chilling.
It's hip to be square.